Okay guys, time to address the elephant in the room that's going to happen during this whole video. I try to edit the way I say lingerie out until a certain point, and then I realized there was absolutely no way to pretend I said it properly during the whole video. This is crazy because I know that it is lingerie. I can say it. You put me in front of a camera and my brain went pooh. And so the thing is, the word lingerie comes from French, which is pronounced lingerie. And so in this video, you are going to enjoy all the range between lingerie and lingerie. I think I'm giving you a history lesson of how one word became the other by giving you all of the options in between. So if you are going to get annoyed at me pronouncing lingerie, anything else than that, better click off, because it's going to be a fest of a bit of everything, and it doesn't frustrate anyone more than myself. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, La Fraise. I'm Noémie, I'm a student in costume making here in Brussels, and this week I'm very excited to share with you our game plan on how you and I are going to learn to make lingerie. I feel like it's such an intimidating topic, one where you don't really know where to start. And so I went a couple of weeks ago to Antwerp to have a little road trip, and I met with a Belgian lingerie designer, and it was such a cool experience. We talked for 2.5 hours about lingerie, so I'm going to try to summarize everything we talked about here. So I went to meet Licia from Harry Ito Lingerie. She has her own pattern brand where she does beautiful lingerie sewing patterns. And so actually I will start kind of with her website and with her patterns, just so that you can see what she does and who I met with. And then we will talk about everything she advised, which is different patterns from different brands, different courses that you can find here and there. So the conversation went way beyond her product. So I hope you enjoyed the summary of this discussion. My very first question for Licia, and I don't know if it's yours as well, but for me the first question was, how do you know if you are ready to start sewing lingerie? How do you know you are ready to level up and sew lingerie? And what Licia says is that to sew lingerie, you need to be able to sew precisely. In a baggy shirt like the one here, if I were to kind of mess up my seam allowance here by 1 millimeter here, 1 millimeter there, another millimeter here at the front, the shirt would still fit me. I have so much ease. It's fine if I mess up a little bit at every seam. With lingerie, a millimeter is a millimeter, and if you do go a little bit off the seam allowance at every seam, you are going to end up with a bra that doesn't fit. So what she was saying is that to know if you are ready to start, are you able to sew precisely? And if you're not, this is what you would want to practice to be sure, okay, I'm practicing sewing as precisely as I can. And when you feel confident with sewing precisely, the only other thing you need is perseverance, because sewing lingerie can be a little bit more fiddly than sewing a boxy top. So Licia said, you can definitely do this. If you can sew precisely, there is no reason why you can't do this. Sewing lingerie is not so difficult, but it is a series of steps that you need to follow in the right direction. And then when something goes wrong, you need to go back one step, fix this, and then keep moving on. So it is a more lengthy process than making something like a t-shirt, but it does have a really high payoff. It's just that it might take a little bit more effort to get the right fit, to get it all to work, and it's not something that you can just clap your finger and have done perfectly in the first go. So if you have your precision sewing and your perseverance with you, you are ready to go, and let's go and look at how we are going to learn to make lingerie. I first want to mention Licia's own patterns and website. And she didn't talk so much about them. She mentioned so many other resources, but I do want to shed a light on her. The booklet you get with any of her pattern is a course in itself. Grabbing one here, I will kind of give you an overview of everything you get. And I will be honest, that's a conversation I had with her. I said, when I arrive and I see a 35-page long booklet for a bra, I'm already intimidated, I already want to run, I don't want to read it, it's too much, I'm panicking. And this is where perseverance comes into play, because there is no getting around learning the basics to do good lingerie. So for example, if I take a booklet here, she has a first quite substantial chunk on the fabrics and notion you need. And it's because if you want to make good quality stuff, you will need the right material for the right part of your bra or panties, and you can't just try to get a substitute. Material is something I'm going to mention a little bit later, but just so you know, in one of her patterns, you start with quite a chunk on fabric and notions and all of the explanation on why you need a certain something for a specific part of your piece, and makes you understand everything that goes around that. Then it goes about how to choose the right size for you. So when I looked at my size with Alicia, she just said that if you were between sizes, you would choose the biggest size because you can always size down easier than sizing up. But you just, in the end, need to pick a size that seems like the best option for you regarding your band and your cup size. Start there and then you modify so that it works for you. She said there's no point freezing at the first step because there's nothing that fits your sizes perfectly. You choose one, you choose the best bet, and then you move on, and then you do all the adjustments you need. So there is instructions about the printing and the seam allowances. She explains to you how to cut your pieces. So it's not something where she just assumes that you know how to cut pieces, because depending on how you want to put the lace and everything, it is a whole science, even the cutting part. So you have quite a substantial chunk on cutting, and then you have the instructions. And with the instructions, you get information on how to do this or that adjustment. So each time she explains, okay, if at this point you need to do this, you need to do that, this is how you do it. And you have literal illustrations for everything, and everything is explained. If you are comfortable following a booklet and you're not in need of videos of a specific course, I would suggest starting with one of her patterns. It's really well explained. If you are ready to have kind of a written course, this would be a really good place to start. Now, Alicia actually mentioned different patterns for you guys. She recommended a starting pattern for a smaller cup size and a starting pattern for a bigger cup size. She said that if you want to start and you have a smaller cup size, you could try the Watson bra and bikini pattern from Cloth Habit. And Cloth Habit also have a sew along that goes with this. It's a whole blog page that's going to tell you on how to sew your bra. I find that the steps are actually quite similar to the ones I just mentioned in Alicia's booklet, but this is shown as different blog articles that you can follow. So instead of having a big PDF, you have different chapters here in this blog. But you start with the material in Notion, you see the different fit, you see how to make it as a bikini. As you can see, there's all the different information, elastic. Again, you have a page only on cutting, because we know that cutting a bra requires a little bit of special care. So as you can see, you have a lot of supporting material to sew your very first Watson bra. And so I feel comfortable recommending this one to you, because even though I haven't made it, Alicia said it's a really good pattern. So I'm really happy that my expert, that the expert I got to talk to has tested this and recommend this to you guys. Now, if you have a bigger cup size, she recommends going with the Poppy from House Morrigan. So House Morrigan, they don't have a website at the moment, but if you send them a direct message on Instagram, you can buy the pattern that way. And hopefully as soon as the website is live again, you can buy it on the website. So she recommends the Poppy bralette. Apparently it's amazing support for bigger cup sizes and really, really well drafted. So that's a recommendation for Alicia for bigger cup size. Now you know which patterns you are starting with. Now let's talk about courses. And for courses and extra information, Alicia had two recommendations for you guys. The first one is Lilipa Designs. As you can see here, she has an entire section in the learning section. So she has sew along videos, she has different information for underwear, sizing, workshops, virtual one-on-one, online courses, masterclass on bra fit, a beginner's guide, and a point on why you should considering making your own bras. I really like the beginner's guide because it starts in a very no-nonsense way, setting expectation, make you understand that it's not going to be particularly easy, but that you can do this. I feel like it's also what I got from Licia. I was hoping that she would give me a sort of magic formula and that therefore you guys and me would never have to struggle through bra making ever. And she wouldn't give me that. She was like, no, it's not so simple. You will have to persevere through this. It is something where you need to have a little bit of stamina. And I do like that she wouldn't sugarcoat it in a sense, because I feel like if you know what you're getting into, you are much more prepared than if you're hoping for something simple that ends up being a little bit more challenging. And that's also what Lily Pad Design does here. So it really covers everything: the fit, the cup, how to choose a size. It explains what is breast root. It explains what is the projections. I mean, I can't even go through the whole thing because it's so long, but they have so many fit information, technical information. The beginner's guide is something that you need to take a little bit one step at a time. It can be overwhelming if you look at the whole thing. So how I would use LilyPad is have a first look through and look at kind of the general information, but then keep the website. And when you are making your bras and when you see the problem arise, go back to the beginner's guide, because then you can kind of see if your problem is listed on there and what they suggest to help you out. For their masterclass in bra fitting, I see that they don't have the next date yet, but I would keep an eye on their website if it's something you would want to join. Now, another course that Licia recommended is the one from Porcelain, and Porcelain has this complete bra making course that is actually quite cheap and that Licia really recommended. She also has other courses that you can obviously look through, but Licia recommended this one to get you started. If you prefer something that is video based, because this course is 30 video lessons, which amounts to 13 hours of content for you to watch and to learn with her. So that's a really good option that Licia recommended as well. Now, if you really get the bug for bra making, and all I'm saying here is way too simple for you because you want to get into the nitty-gritty, she recommended the Bra Maker's Manual from Beverly Johnson, who's also known apparently as your fairy bra mother. Okay, so now we have decided on which bra pattern we're going to use. We have found a good course that's going to help us. Now you need really good material, and that's something Licia also really insisted on. You can't make a good bra out of bad material. This is something where you kind of can't cut corners and you really need to go and get the good stuff. She recommended Small Bobbins, which is based in Belgium. So if you are based in or around Belgium, you might be able to get shippings from Small Bobbins. She sadly didn't have recommendation from around the world because she's based in Belgium like me, but if you are around us, then Small Bobbins has really good materials, which is tested and approved by Licia. I have also asked Licia because you guys might know I have acquired a projector right now, and I was asking her what was her stand on projector sewing, and for lingerie, sadly, it's a big no-no. Projectors are a little bit less precise and using a good old printed pattern, and for lingerie, you need to go with precisions. So no projector for this endeavor. At the same time, the lingerie patterns don't have so many pages, so you won't have to stick together 50 pages. Don't you worry. But yeah, she really explained that for lingerie, because we are going to need to hack the pattern and work on it and make it fit you perfectly, you can't really work from a projector. This is not the right use case for it, sadly. Okay, so that's a lot of information, but it doesn't give us a game plan. So the way Licia recommended that you and I get started with lingerie sewing is first to start with a panty, and what this does is allow us to practice working with the elastics and with those maybe finer fabrics, while not having to have all of the headache of bra fitting. So starting with the panty, moving on to a bralette, so a bra that is a bit easier to fit, and then moving on to a more complicated bra. So you will see that this is the route I'm going to take. I'm going to start even simpler by showing you how I make my jersey knickers that I tend to make out of my fabric scraps. So end of June, we are doing jersey knickers together, and from September on, we are starting on the proper lingerie journey when we are making everything Licia recommended, from a simple panty to the bralette to the bra, and you'll see we have a really exciting journey ahead of us there and lots to learn. So as I move on with the patterns, you'll obviously have a video each time. I'm really curious if there's anything you want to see in those videos. I haven't decided on the format yet. The jersey knickers is going to be a tutorial, but for the rest, what type of videos would you like to make? Obviously, I can't make you a bra tutorial each time because I'm going to be learning along with you guys, but do you prefer a sew along? Do you prefer a review after the fact like I do with the shirts? Anything in between. I really want to make those videos as helpful for you guys as possible. So if you have any opinions on how they should be formed, please let me know. Hello from Editing Noémie. I didn't mention this in the video, but I think it's quite interesting for you guys to know now. Within this series, I will, as much as possible, make a model for my wife who has a smaller chest and doesn't need a lot of support, and one for myself who is in need of a lot of support. And so this way I can each time see how the model compares on the two different chest types. Now, if it's a model that I know is not going to fit me at all because something that is very, very flimsy and loose, I know that there's no point, I will not wear that. And on the other side of the spectrum, she will not wear something that I make that's totally out of her normal style range. So I will not make everything in the small cup and bigger cup option, but when it is possible and relevant, I will, so that I can really give you the most complete review possible. Otherwise, if you're watching this video the day it comes out, it's actually Licia's birthday, so happy birthday, Licia. Everyone wish a happy birthday to Licia in the comments, but because it's her birthday, there is actually a special on her website for her birthday week. So if you want to get one of her patterns at a discount, this is the week to do so. But if you see this video outside of the birthday week and you've missed out on that special, you can actually still get 20% off with the code LaFraise20. This is not an affiliate code. I don't get anything for promoting Licia. She was just a really delightful human being who gave a chunk of her time to help me out getting started with my lingerie journey. I've still been like messaging her questions since, so she's been absolutely delightful, and she gave you a discount as well if you want to try one of her patterns. Okay, this is the end. I really want to thank Licia for all of the help she's given me making this video possible, and also helping me getting started on my lingerie journey. Remember the dates. At end of June we are making jersey knickers together, and from September on we are making proper lingerie together, so it's going to be super exciting. I want to thank Ronya for tipping me a coffee. Thank you so much. This is very much appreciated. Don't hesitate to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to learn to sew lingerie with me, and don't forget that you can make anything, including your bras and underwears. I shall see you in the next one. Bye! A lingerie